All right, good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well today. So today we're going to continue to talk about the same section that we were in yesterday, which is Chapter 2, Section 3. And we had begun to talk about solving multi-step equations, but everything that I showed you, the first three examples anyways, were two-step equations, and that's what we're going to continue to discuss today is a little bit more practice with two-step equations. So I'm going to give you three more examples here. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do for this number 4 is I'm going to draw a line right there, and I'm going to again recognize what is happening to my variable. My variable right there is variable a. And there's a couple things happening to it. It's being multiplied by 3 over 2, and it's also being subtracted by 8. So we need to undo the multiplication, and we need to undo the subtraction. We are going to undo the subtraction first, and we're going to do that by adding 8 to both sides. So we're going to add 8 to both sides like that. And once I do that, these two 8's cancel, and we're left with 3 over 2a equals 19. So now this is where a lot of times people will forget what to do, but this 3 over 2 right here is multiplying, it's multiplying the a. So normally to undo multiplication, we would say, okay, we're going to divide by 3 over 2 like this, right? We would divide by 3 over 2. The issue here is that we don't ever we don't divide fractions. We don't do that. We just can't. So what we have to do is what, if you remember from the review packet, we call keep, change, flip, which is when you have division, you keep the first one, you change the division to multiplication, and then you flip it over. So we're actually going to multiply both sides by 2 over 3. Like that. Okay, and these 3's and these 2's cancel, which is the whole point, and it gets us our variable a by itself. Now, on the right-hand side, we have 19 times 2/3, so we need to make it 19 over 1 first, and then we can multiply straight across. So 19 times 2 is 38, and then 1 times 3 is 3. So a is 38/3. Now, since that's an improper fraction, so we want to go ahead and divide that out. How many times 3 will go into 3 one whole times? 3 will go into 8 twice. So 3 times 2 is 6. So we're trying to get to 8. So that means there's a remainder of 2, and that 2 is put over what we divided by. So 38/3 actually becomes 12 and 2/3. So that was a little harder one just because our answer ended up being a fraction. Now, I'm going to give you one more thing that I want to show you. If we were to do a check for this, when you go to do the check, you want to use the answer that's in its improper form. That's the number that you want to plug in. So when I write this 3 over 2 times 38/3 minus 8 equals 11. You can see that I substituted 38/3 in, not 12 and 2/3. You could put 12 and 2/3 in there, but then you'd have to put it right back into being an improper fraction, which you don't want to do. So we're just going to leave it as 38/3. And from there, we can simplify that. You can see the 3's are going to cancel out, right? And then the 2 and 38, they're both divisible by 2. So that's going to become a 1. And 38 divided by 2 is actually 19. So that whole thing is going to simplify into 19 minus 8 equals 1. Sorry, not 1, 11. And 19 minus 8 is indeed 11. So 11 equals 11. So that works. That means our check worked and we solved our equation correctly. All right, so let's go to the next one. Here's the second of 3 that I'm going to show you. So once again, we have an equation, and you can see there's a variable x right there. There's a couple things happening to x. It's being subtracted by 5, but it's also being divided by 7. So normally, you would get rid of the subtraction first. That's what That's what we've done in the last 4 problems, right? But in this one, you would not, and here's why. Anytime you have an expression written like this, where it's written in a fraction form, there's a set of parentheses around the numerator and the denominator. Even though they're not written there, they're there. So what that says is it forces us to work outside the parentheses first and get rid of the 7. So we actually need to get rid of the 7 first by multiplying both sides by 7 like this. And when I multiply both sides by 7, I get 56 equals, and these 7's cancel, and I'm left with x minus 5. And from there, I'm going to add 5 to both sides. That's going to cancel those. 56 plus 5 is 61 equals x. In order to check this, we're going to write our original equation. 8 equals, now in place of x, I'm going to write 61 minus 5 over 7. So 8 equals 61 minus 5 is 56 over 7. And 56 divided by 7 is indeed 8. So it worked. And we solved it correctly. So our answer is x equals 61. The last one we're going to do is this one right here, and it's similar to the one that we just completed in that we have this fraction right here. And again, if you have a fraction, there's always sets of parentheses around the numerator and denominator. That changes what order we get rid of the stuff that's happening to the variable. Because you can see the c right here is being added to 1. It's also being divided by -3. But we need to get rid of the -3 first in this case because the parentheses restrict us from working inside first. So to undo division by -3, we are going to multiply by -3 like this. I'm going to multiply by -3 like that. And you can see the -3's cancel. And we have c plus 1 equals, and then we have -21 times -3, which gives me positive 63. From there, and I forgot to draw my line, from there, we're going to subtract 1 for both sides, and we're going to get c equals 62. Now our check, okay, so that's our solution. Our check, we have c plus 1, so c is 62 plus 1 divided by -3, and hopefully that equals -21. We'll see. So 62 plus 1 is 63 divided by -3 equals 21. -21, I should say. And so now we're going to divide. A positive divided by a negative is indeed negative, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And would you look at that? -21 equals -21. So it worked, and our solution of c equals 62 was correct. So, all right, guys, there you go. There's the second day on this chapter and section. Hopefully that made sense to you. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a good day.